Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel. Today I just wanted to discuss with you guys what I'm reading, because my reading the past couple months has been completely off kilter. My TBRs, or at least me staying faithful to my TBRs, has not really been that good, and I'm in the middle of 4 books, so I thought I would just do a quick check-in and share with you what I'm currently reading. But before we go ahead and get on into the books, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and make sure you hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new content. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, you can check down in the description box for links to my social media, my Discord, and my Patreon. Since my reading has not really been that good, at least in March, I figured that going forward, I wasn't going to do monthly wrap-ups anymore. This is something that I've been thinking about changing on my channel. I would rather do dedicated reviews to each book that I read instead of doing a collective wrap-up at the end of the month where I can't go into as much detail as I could in a dedicated review. And considering that I'm only reading a couple books a month, at least in March I only read 3, that's definitely doable. So going forward, you won't expect to see monthly wrap-ups from me anymore, at least for a little while, and you're going to see more dedicated book reviews. So I thought I would share with you guys what I'm currently reading. This video is going to go up the day that I'm filming it, which is March 27th, so it'll be 100% accurate. But the first book that I'm currently reading is The Last Uncharted Sky by Curtis Craddock. This was on my March TBR, and this is the 3rd book in the Risen Kingdoms trilogy, which is an adult high fantasy. And I'm currently a little bit more than 50% of the way through. I did put this book down to read the first book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which I did finish, and I was definitely loving this book. So this follows a girl named Isabelle and her musketeer protector named Jean-Claude, and just a whole bunch of stuff has happened to Isabelle throughout this series. Things have not gone how she has planned. A lot of unfair things have happened to her, and she's a very resilient, intelligent, scientific math type of woman. And she ends up getting commissioned by like the Empress to go on this mission to find this religious type artifact, and that's currently where we're at. And I stopped, like I said, right in the middle of this, and some things are happening with Isabelle that I was not expecting. I'm finding it really interesting, especially considering it's a consequence of something that happened in book 2. And also we're exploring a relationship between Isabelle and a gentleman, and there's some unusual circumstances that are going along with that. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. So it was definitely hard to put this book down right in the middle because I was really getting into it in order to read Ship of Magic, but this is a book that I do plan on finishing in April because this is definitely becoming one of my favorite series of all time. The next book I am in the middle of reading is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. I put this book down because I had planned on reading half of it in March and half of it in April. I did not reach my halfway goal. I only read about 20% of this book, which is not exactly where I needed to be, but I ended up stopping right after Dantes had escaped from the prison, and he is starting to transform into the Count of Monte Cristo. He has found the treasure that the Abbé had promised him, and he is on his journey of beginning revenge. And that is just like the crux of the novel. That's when it's getting good, and just the way that he enacted like his first revenge was just, ooh, it was so good, so sweet. And I'm really enjoying this too. I'm finding, for a translated classic, one that is pretty dense, it's definitely digestible, it's definitely readable. I was listening to this on audiobook, and the audio narrator is doing an awesome job, especially with the pronunciations of the names and places that are derivative of French, because I don't speak French, unfortunately, so it really helps to have that pronunciation, so when I go back and physically read it, I'll know how to pronounce these things. But definitely a book I am planning on finishing in April. I'm really enjoying it, and I cannot wait to see as Edmund further takes revenge on the people that wronged him. The next book that I am reading is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This was on my March TBR and then again on my April TBR, which I just posted, I think, on Friday. And I'm glad that I was able to start it a little bit early because it's a pretty thick book. I did not realize that this book was about 900 pages. It doesn't look it. And the pages are like Bible thin pages. Like they are really thin pages. I just was not expecting this book to be so dense, but I am really liking it. I'm currently on about page 130, I think. Let's see. I'm on page 132, and this book I was really apprehensive going into because I've heard such mixed reviews. I've heard that it is super dense and super slow in some parts, but I tell you what, this book kicked off with a bang. Like, it gripped me, and I am still gripped. So I'm expecting that that's going to wear off just based on what people have told me. But in this book, we're following Kira, and it is the year 22 something, and she is part of this corporation that goes around looking to see if planets are habitable. And she is out searching for a broken drone and ends up like falling into this room, this cavern that has these alien artifacts, and she comes into contact with alien life. And it's one of those situations where, at least in my opinion, it's a parasite host kind of relationship with alien life and Kira. And then of course, when she is exposed to alien life, she has to be quarantined, tested, and then things start happening with her because of her exposure to the alien, and she is being tested on, and all of these secrets are starting to become uncovered. So all of this has happened. We have had exposure to alien life. We have seen aliens. We have had a battle with an alien. We have had a ship blow up, all in the first 130 pages. So when I say that this book has a very small exposition, it has a very small exposition, and we jump directly into that inciting incident. So I'm really wondering exactly what's going to happen, because all of that action happened and then we have 900 pages left or 800 pages left. So like I said, I'm nervous to see how this story goes, but at least as of right now, I'm really liking it, and it's one of those books where I really am anxious to pick it back up and continue because I want to know what happens. So stay tuned for my final thoughts on To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. And lastly, I'm actually reading a nonfiction book, and I decided to pick up CLANLANDS by Sam Hugan and Graham McTavish. This is the two stars from the Stars Outlander TV show, which is based off of the Outlander books by Diana Gabaldon. I feel like most people are familiar with the books and or TV show, and I personally read the first book. I wasn't a fan of it. I watched some episodes of the TV show, wasn't a fan of it, but this book follows these two stars as they are going across Scotland, kind of rediscovering their heritage. And it does have bits about the TV show because, I mean, obviously that's a big part of these two actors' lives, and it does take place in Scotland for a part of the show. And they're talking about, as they're traveling across Scotland, like their experiences on the Outlander show, filming, and then they're talking about the different places that they're visiting in Scotland and what they're learning and discovering. And then we do get tidbits of history thrown in there, and we also get a lot of humor from the two actors, a lot of banter between the two of them. It is like an alternating, I don't want to say POV, but like alternating voice. So some of it's written from Graham's perspective, some of it's written from Sam's perspective. So you are getting like their experiences working on the TV show, their experiences being actors, their experiences being Scottish, and their experiences relearning about their heritage. So I'm really enjoying it. It's really easy to get through. It's super fun. I am learning a lot about not only Scotland, but just being an actor for a TV show as big as Outlander is. And this is actually a TV show also. So I do want to finish the book first, and then I want to jump into the TV show because part of it seems like it's transcribed from the TV show. So I definitely want to check that out. I think the humor will be brought out more in the TV show, and I would love to see the places that they're visiting and describing in the book. And this book is only, I think, about maybe 200-300 pages. It's almost 300 pages. I'm about 50 pages in. It's very, very easy to read. So this is one that I definitely see myself finishing. And I just want to shout out my good bookish friend Michelle for sending this to me because she is such a dear, and I am having so much fun reading it. Okay, you guys, so that was just a quick video of me talking about the 4 books that I am in the middle of reading. Hopefully, I will be able to complete all of them by the end of April, in addition to my sci-fi heavy April TBR. But let me know in the comments what you are currently reading, or if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I will see y'all soon in another video. Goodbye!